Hi Tumblr. So, as promised, I'm going to do the Stragglers edition for my Ask Party. I got 4 more questions and makes for a nice little video, I think. So, and also it makes a nice break from setting up my OkCupid profile, which is somewhat amusing, but you know, breaks are nice. So, without further ado, let's dive right in. First off, Anon, the one who actually set off the urge to offer this round. Do you smoke weed? No, I don't. I mean, I have a couple of times in the past, but it's not really something I search out. I'm not saying that I will always pass it on in the future, but you know, not really my primary interest. Hawthorne on the Barrow asked, what's your favorite for aesthetic or interest reasons? Indo-European language, favorite non-Indo-European language, favorite non-Germanic language trait or structure? You're saying that these are less exciting questions than most. I actually really like this kind of question. Favorite Indo-European language? I'm very partial to Icelandic, simply sound-wise. There's something I find very charming about how it sounds. I can't really point out a reason why. It's just a thing that is. Favorite non-Indo-European language? I'm gonna go with languages that I've, you know, heard relatively many examples of. In that case, I would say it's Finnish. It's with its strong initial stress, it sounds very Germanic on the one hand. It's like sort of familiar sound, but you know, features like lack of voiced consonants makes it sound a bit non-familiar, and I generally think that vowel harmony is a very euphonious feature, so that's why I like listening to it. Favorite non-Germanic language trait or structure? It's a bit of a mean question, because if you had just asked me about my favorite language trait / structure, I would have said that it's the Abtönungspartikel, which is very typical for especially spoken German. I think the English term is mole particle. But as I can't say that, I would say it's, from what I've heard, how it's used, it's the dubitative. Basically, you know, a built-in grammatical feature to express doubt in the veracity of something you're saying. So basically, like a built-in, well, he said he'd done it, but it's I mean, I think I've mentioned that I'm not really that big into language equals thought stuff, but just, you know, it seems like a fun feature to have. Okay, let's go next. Alienton asked, your accent is very cute and very pleasant to listen to. Thank you. Are there any English words that you have difficulty pronouncing? Well, yeah, as you might have just heard when I said aesthetic, basically any word in which an S and a TH are either next to each other or in close proximity, it's very difficult for my tongue to, you know, just snap back and forth from a dental to a alveolar fricative. It's actually and the other thing is any word or phrase in which there's a V and a W close together for a similar reason. I mean, German doesn't have the W, so either I tend to do the typical German thing where I pronounce the W as a V, or I do the opposite and I hypercompensate and pronounce V's as W's, which I used to do a lot and I've gotten better about, but it's still something I can slip to, especially when there's, as I said, there's a lot of V's and W's in the same word or phrase. And finally, a Sugar Prince asked if it's okay to ask what the modern German government's attitude is towards Nazism. Was under the vague impression that they're pretty anti-Nazi, but I don't know anything about the German government, so I can't say for certain. First of all, yeah, it's okay to ask me. And yeah, the official stance of pretty much every German government has been very firmly anti-Nazi. For example, Nazi sympathizing parties usually get banned relatively quickly, or other organizations, and those are often government started initiatives before the courts. How effective they are in dealing with Nazis, that's a more complex topic, but yeah, I mean, I also can't really, speak that knowledgeably about pastimes. I mean, well, there's, unlike with for example, Austrian politicians, where there's often been a very strong denial, there's relatively little semi-open endorsement in modern German mainstream politics. Yeah, but that doesn't mean that things like racism or xenophobia or anti-Semitism or anti-Ziganism don't exist in modern German government or modern German politics. It's usually couched in a different language or from different approaches. So yeah, the German government and most German parties are strongly anti-Nazi, but that doesn't necessarily say that they're automatically strongly against awful Nazi-like beliefs. And yeah, those were the questions. Thanks again to everybody who sent a question in. I always enjoy talking to you guys. And yeah, I'll try and come up with an excuse for another one of these ask parties soon. So keep well and eat fruit and only talk to cute strangers if you like.